us up. I guess you could call us what? The more seasoned folks that you've awakened this morning. Well, you can see more of young Dylan and Nate tackling the week's best slime lights on NFL Slime Time. That comes your way every Wednesday night, 7 Eastern on Nickelodeon. And for those expecting Sunday morning and Face the Nation, those programs will return next week. But today, it's an all-day football Sunday as Week 6 of this NFL season continues. And up first, some Sunshine State football. That taking place in the London fog as Tua Tagovailoa returns to the field for Miami just in time, Boom-A, for their showdown against Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jags. And then later today, it's an AFC battle between two first-place squads as Justin Herbertfield and the Los Angeles Chargers pay a visit to Baltimore to take on Lamar Jackson and the Red Hot Ravens. And Bill, speaking of red hot teams, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys bringing their 4-game win streak to the road up in Foxborough to face off against Mac Jones and the New England Patriots. Meanwhile, across the pond, two young quarterbacks facing off. The last time they saw each other, Trevor Lawrence was hoisting a national championship trophy as the MVP of the game. I'm sure he's hoping for a repeat performance today.
Well, yeah, first off, let me say I'm sorry, Boomer. You are a handsome man.
Thank you.
Okay, he's over there pouting, so I had to wake him up. Man, Trevor Lawrence. Let's talk about Trevor Lawrence first. Gotta love the hair, but his stats. I don't care what his stats are. His presence on the field is noticeable. The guy is 6'6". He moves around very well. He gets out of trouble. He's throwing the football better every single week. You can feel that he's getting a feel for this NFL game. I love their offense, Bill, Boomer, everybody, young quarterback. They're 6th in the NFL rushing the football. And last but not least, if I'm a GM, head coach, or a general manager, man, if I had him, I feel good about my quarterback.
You know, on the other side, Tua Tagovailoa is going to make the start today for the Miami Dolphins. It is a quarterback-driven league. Look at these stats. They're very average. He's already had 2 injuries to start his young career, and he came into the NFL with an injury. He's got an impatient owner in Stephen Ross. These next 12 games are going to be an evaluation for him, and it's a make-it-or-break-it time for him because we all know in the offseason, if they do not get back into the playoffs, he does not live up to the hope and promise that he showed when he was at Alabama. It'll be time for a change down in Miami. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson might all be on the trading block. And you know, Coach, that it's about quarterbacks. And right now, Stephen Ross is not sure about his young quarterback.
There's no question the jury's still out on Tua for sure. But when you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're 0-5. But really, they've been in these games, and it's been a lack of being able to finish. When you talk about finish last week, 4th and goal at the 1, they get stopped, a chance to pull within 1 score. The 2 previous weeks, they were leading at halftime. So this football team is getting better. They are not just finishing games, and you know that goes to the head coach understanding the National Football League. But Nate, they do have some playmakers.
They have playmakers, and when you have a rookie quarterback, you want him to lean on those playmakers, preferably a running back. James Robinson, an absolute monster, coming off his career high last week with 149 yards on the ground. So you're going to lean on him, try to keep that train going, but also the wide receivers, though. Marvin Jones, a veteran wideout, he was there, brought there to be that veteran leader. He only had 1 catch last week. Laviska Shenault looking for a big-time game from him. And then on the other side, Miami Dolphins, Byron Jones is out. Xavier Howard is out, so you have to use those wide receivers to push the ball downfield.
No question.
Boy, Boomer's got a pretty quick hook, does he not?
It's that time of year,
man, the numbers speak for themselves.
Unbelievable.
Come on, man.
Hey, folks, for more news and updates from around the league, let's welcome in our NFL Today insider. That would be Jason Lockenfor. Jason, more emails from the Washington football team released. What's the latest?
Well, JB, the NFL will release no evidence from its investigation into the toxic workplace of the Washington football team, league sources said, despite a mounting outcry among the public, the NFLPA, and many of the women who brought allegations against the team. The league has made it clear last week that it considers the matter closed. Owner Daniel Snyder was fined $10 million in July when the NFL determined that a pattern of sexual misconduct existed within his organization. The NFL reviewed 650,000 emails in the probe, including several offensive emails sent by John Gruden to former Washington exec Bruce Allen. Gruden resigned as Raiders head coach Monday after those emails came to light in the media. Once those emails became public, as well as correspondence between Allen and Chief NFL Counsel Jeff Pash, the NFLPA called for all the emails to be released. And many of the WFT accusers renewed demands for details from that workplace investigation. No written report of that investigation exists. The league says that's at least in part at the behest of former team employees who don't want their stories public. However, several accusers have provided on-the-record accounts in the media and also crafted a letter to NFL sponsors urging them to join the campaign for transparency. The NFL maintains that Gruden's emails were the only ones among the 650,000 reviewed that required further action. But outside reporting on those emails is far from complete, JB.
Wow, Jason, sounds like this is not over yet. All right, folks, we will step aside for a quick timeout. Back with more from us after this.
The NFL Today on CBS is presented by the all-new 2022 Grand Wagoneer.
Time now to set the scene out in London for First on the Field. That's presented by DirecTV Stream. A beautiful day for football across the Atlantic. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's the site of this morning's battle between the Jaguars and the Dolphins. And without DJ Chark, the Jags are looking for Laviska Shenault to step up. Last week, only targeted 3 times. We'll see if Jacksonville gets their playmaker involved early and often.
He's talking about playmakers. How about Mike Gesicki, the tight end for the Miami Dolphins? Last year, he was 4th in receiving yards with 703. Last week, he had his first touchdown of the year. Can he and Tua get it back in sync again today? Going to be a big reason why if they win.
And there's Jalen Waddle, just 1 touchdown on the season, and he's averaging just under 9 yards per catch. Listen, he was drafted right after Jamar Chase and only has 1 TD compared to his 5.
Herbert is a highlight machine.
It's going down right now. It's going down right now. It's going down.
And what a game we have in our 1 o'clock window. 2 bona fide MVP candidates, both coming off of games where they put up video game numbers.
That's right. And Justin Herbert, I want you to check out some numbers. The first couple of years of their careers, here's Justin Herbert with 11 300-yard pass games right after Patrick Mahomes, Dan Marino. How about that for being in good company? But Justin Herbert standing at 6'6", and the reason that he's able to do what he does, he can look over any offensive line, any type of pressure, and he's delivering the ball downfield. The big playmakers that he has, that was Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, of course, in the backfield, hitting Austin Eckler. But the fact that he has these tall guys and his completion percentage goes up as these guys get taller. Donald Parham stands at 6'8". And his completion percentage, 71% when he's throwing to the big fella.
It's a quarterback-driven league, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Lamar Jackson last week against the Indianapolis Colts had one well of a football game. Take a look at some of these records. First player ever, 400-plus yards, 4 pass TDs, 50-plus rushing yards. Highest completion percentage with 40 pass attempts, 86%. And the first quarterback with a completion percentage of 85 in-game with 400 passing yards. He was ridiculous last week. The second half, I don't think I've ever seen a half played so well and so dominated by one single player. You could see all the missed tackles. They had breakdowns in coverage. There was no pass rush by the Indianapolis Colts. They sped up the offense, if you noticed, in the second half, and all of a sudden Lamar just took over. And I'm telling you, JB, that was the best game that I've seen in the second half by any quarterback in the history of this league. That's how good that was. And the other part of it is he was an MVP a couple years ago. He's playing better today than he was then.
You guys know it so well. But Boomer and Nate, I love it when the critics and all the pundits were just panning them coming into the league. Boomer, what do you do with these 2 guys? Do what?
Give them the ball and just
let them play.
Let them play. That's for sure. And speaking of let them play, how about Myles Gaskin? From University of Washington in my high school, O'Day High School, my man has 2 receiving touchdowns on the season. That leads the receivers for the Miami Dolphins.
Coming up later today, Dak and the Cowboys come to Foxborough seeking their 5th straight dub against Bill Belichick and the Patriots. And 2 AFC West rivals look to stay above 500. That's when the Broncos battle Derek Carr and the Raiders. It's all coming up 4:25 Eastern right here on CBS. Time now for Pregame HQ delivered by Domino's.
What a strike from Dak Prescott. 4 passing touchdowns. A touchdown machine. There's a handoff to Elliott. He's going to walk in. He blows through. High Sanders struck. Touchdown, Elliott. Put some respect on his name. Intercepted by Diggs again. Diggs again. And caught it. Touchdown. Second sack game. 6 to the end zone. Very impressive. Cowboys win. Cowboys win. Yes, sir.
Well, when you talk about the Dallas Cowboys, Phil, what a difference this year's made. They're complete offensively and defensively. And Dak Prescott, what a year he's had. Completion percentage, touchdown passes. And if you try to blitz him, he will burn you. What a difference a healthy offensive line makes.
Well, you say it. If you want to win the Super Bowl, you got to have a good, talented, healthy offensive line. Dak Prescott has that. Here's Amari Cooper on the outside. He's going to run a corner post. What's the timing by Dak Prescott? The protection. He can climb the pocket. Look how he anticipates the throw. And then he drives it in there between the corner and the safety. Throwing the ball better now than he ever has in his career. You worry about his ankle? Look at the movement in the pocket. Hey, get a little trouble, runs this right. Now, instead of running with the football when he moves, he's looking to throw it down the field. That is Dalton Schultz. They are loaded everywhere. 2 at the running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line. And then Kellen Moore is spicing it up with some trick plays to keep you off balance, Bill.
When you talk about the defensive side of the ball, which they had to fix from last year, Dan Quinn has come in here, and Trevon Diggs, you can see right here, probably the leading candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, passes defense #1, 6 interceptions. This football team is balanced as anybody in the National Football League.
All right, good job, Coach. Let's throw it over to JB.
Hey, I'm sure Bill will agree the Jags have to get more from their pass rush led by Josh Allen. Hey, folks, he had a sack in last year's matchup. He's itching to get the Tua in the backfield today.
The NFL Today is sponsored by Trulicity. Just for men, mustache and beard, a fuller gray-free look in 5 minutes. And by the all-new 2022 Grand Wagoneer.
As part of their contribution to support Palm Beach County schools, the Miami Dolphins Social Impact Committee helped configure 25,000 Wi-Fi extenders for students and families to have reliable internet at home. Time now for Game Day Delivery presented by Amazon. And folks, we are inching closer to kickoff in London. Final thoughts from the guys on who they think will pull it out feeling.
Okay, well, this is not that easy, but I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins. They had such high hopes when the season started. All those high draft picks they've had for the last 2 or 3 years, just not coming through with them, for them. And the offensive line, it's a mess. And it's hard to overcome a bad offensive line in the NFL, Bill.
And I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars. We talked about them being close to the last 3 weeks. I think they are there. I think their offense has got some playmakers. And defensively, if they can get after 2 and they can't run the ball, that being the Miami Dolphins, which means there should be no play action. I think they're pretty much one-dimensional right now. So I like the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, Coach, Phil, and Boom, you guys know having your starting quarterback back in the lineup, sometimes that adds a little bit of juice. So having Tua Tagovailoa back at the starting quarterback position, I got the Miami Dolphins. They'll have some energy in this game.
You know what? When I think about the Miami Dolphins, I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins. And then I think of Phil Simms, and I think of what he should be doing in his second career right here.
The rope would break.
Although that's right. The bungee cord would break if you were on it.
Yes.
But I will say this. You know what? I'm picking the Dolphins. The reason I'm picking the Dolphins is because I said it earlier. This is make or break it time for Tua Tagovailoa. I'm sorry. It just is. It's the reality of it.
Right.
Miami Dolphin fans know that the Miami Dolphins passed on Justin Herbert to take Tua, and all Justin is doing is throwing for 300 yards a game. So I'm going to take Miami and Tua, and hopefully he plays well and he gets his career back on track.
Yeah.
You know, I like the one thing that Jacksonville does with a young quarterback. Their play-action pass, they get him really deep like Kyler Murray in Arizona. Why? Because as soon as somebody comes free, he can dodge them or he's going to outrun them, give him more time to throw the football down the field, and let the football field expand to make easier decisions.
You know, again, a game like this, I'm just going to take the best quarterback. And to me, the best quarterback in this game is Trevor Lawrence. And that's why, to me, the way what he can do with his feet and his arm.
And you mentioned the play action. You can do that when you have a guy like James Robinson. Defenses have to respect the fact that he is legit 3-down back.
All right, Dave, you're accustomed to being up this early, so help me out. We'll see you back at halftime, folks. Kickoff is just moments away.
Yep. Dolphins, Jags, coming up next.
Not so